Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today is just going to be a really chill get ready with me. I'm going to show you what's been my go-to look for summer, and I'm also going to show you how I like to cover up my little blemishes. First things first, when it comes to summertime, we really need to think about sun protection. I like to wear SPF year-round just because whenever there's sun, you need sun protection, but especially in the summer when you're going to be spending a lot of time outside, you really need to think about sun protection. This is my favorite sunscreen to wear under makeup. It's the NEUTROGENA Healthy Defense Liquid Moisturizer with Sunscreen. This is an SPF 50. I think 50 is really the lowest that I'll go as far as face sunscreen goes. If I'm going to be out at the beach and, you know, not wearing makeup, but really spending a lot of time outside in the sun, I'll wear 75 or 100 on my face. But under makeup, I think this one's great. SPF 50 is at least what you need, especially when you're really pale like this. And you don't want to be stingy with it. Like, I will put a lot on there. This skin is the only skin I get, so I want to make sure that my face is completely covered, completely protected. I really like this one because it's lightweight. Make sure you get your ears too. I am going to add a little bit of primer. This is a silicone-free primer, and I prefer that in the summer. Just, I want my skin to feel really light and really moisturized. I like a more kind of fresh, dewy look in the summer, so I'm using my Too Faced HANGOVERX primer. Before I move on to foundation, I'm going to do a tiny bit of color correcting. First, I'm going to use my Benefit Erase Paste in the shade Medium just under my eyes to cancel out any kind of dark circles that I have going on under there. And it doesn't take much. I just put a little bit on my ring finger and tap it around my under eye area. I just got it all over my lower lashes. It's okay. Because this does have a thicker consistency, first of all, you really don't want to use too much. It's always better to kind of build it up, use a little bit, and then you can add more if you need to. And I also don't like to wipe it. I really just tap it with my finger, and the warmth from my finger helps to kind of soften the product and spread it evenly. I don't want streaky erase paste. That's not cute. Now I'm going to use a little bit of green color corrector over my blemish on my forehead, and a few things about covering blemishes. First of all, I really don't have acne prone skin. I just get a little, you know, breakout here and there. So I don't have a ton of insight for you. I can just tell you how I deal with my little breakouts. And first of all, when this thing was fresh, as you can probably tell, it's nice and flat now. It's starting to darken up before it goes away. I try my best not to put any makeup on when I have a really fresh breakout. I don't want to clog up my pores. So when I have a fresh one, I don't put anything over it. I just kind of accept my fate and wait a few days for it to diminish. And once it gets like this, where it's kind of starting to heal, then I'll start putting makeup on over it. But I really don't want to make it any more inflamed when it's fresh. I know that's not much of a tip for you, but I try to avoid putting makeup on a fresh breakout. I am going to use a tiny bit of green color corrector. This is from a LISE WATIER palette, and this is a really thick, kind of creamy consistency in this palette. So what I do is I'll put some on my finger and then I'll kind of rub it on the back of my hand to really get the product softened up and warmed up. And then once it's nice and soft, I'll start to dab a little bit over, just a really, really thin layer to cancel out that redness. I don't want to pile this stuff on because all that's going to do is draw attention to the spot. So I'm just going to gently tap it and make sure I kind of disperse it out so that it evens into my skin once I start putting foundation and concealer on top. I'm going to be testing a new foundation today. This is from OXYGENATIX. It says that it's a breathable formula for healthier skin that provides complete coverage. So we'll see. Hopefully this is a good color match. It looks a little bit yellow, but we'll see how it looks once it's on my skin. Hopefully I don't look too crazy. And what I like to do is just kind of dab my foundation all over my face, a little bit on my neck so that we're even. So I'll just apply it directly to my face with my fingers and then I'll blend out with a brush. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. Once I've blended the product with the brush, I'll go back with a damp sponge and just kind of press all the product into my skin. Now, this foundation, the shade is actually a little bit better match than I expected. It does look a tiny bit yellow to me. I think it looks better on camera than it does in person. But once I have some concealer and powder and all that stuff, it'll be fine. However, I do not think this is complete coverage. I would say this is more of a light to medium coverage. It probably could be built up because the finish looks really soft and natural. I actually really love the finish. But I don't want a whole ton of makeup on my face in the summer. When it's hot and sweaty, I really want to feel fresh and light, so I'm not gonna pile on a bunch of foundation, but I think this probably would be pretty buildable. Let's test it out a little bit over this blemish. I'm just gonna take a tiny bit more on my finger and kind of tap it over this spot and see if we can build a little more coverage. That actually looks pretty good. And it doesn't look like it's caking up even though I'm layering it. I like this. Now it's time to add a little concealer. Again, I really want to keep it light and dewy, so I'm going to use my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. When I first used this, I really didn't like it because I was expecting it to have a ton of coverage, just like the Born This Way foundation, which is a very full coverage foundation. However, I found that if I use this in conjunction with a color corrector, I really love the finish and the way this wears on my skin all day. So that just goes to show you, if you try to experiment with your products and use them in different ways or in different combinations, you may discover that you love something that you didn't think you were gonna like. Now I'm just gonna use that same Real Techniques sponge and kind of press all the concealer in. Again, I'm not dragging this over my skin. I'm really just kind of bouncing it over the skin to blend the product really gently and just try not to pick too much of it up and not to smear it around, but really just to help it blend right into the skin. Now this summer I've been trying something new that's a little bit scary for me, but I got a tip from a MAC makeup artist about not using powder to set the concealer under your eyes so that your eyes stay looking really fresh and kind of glowy and dewy all day. And that's so foreign to me, but I really am gonna be trying it out. So I'm not gonna set my under eyes. I know, right? However, I am gonna set just the center of my face where I think that I'll get really shiny throughout the day when it's warm out. You know how it goes. So I'm just gonna use my favorite, as you can tell from all this pan, my favorite setting powder from NYX. It's the HD finishing powder, and I'm just gonna really lightly dust that over the center of my face, kind of in between my brows, around my nose, and around kind of my chin area. That's where I really tend to get way too shiny. So that's just gonna help keep my concealer in place and hopefully help me not get too glowy, like beyond glowy. You know what I'm saying? This foundation feels like it has pretty much dried down. It doesn't feel tacky at all. So I'm not gonna set my entire face. I really wanna avoid getting too dry and powdery looking. So I'm just gonna go straight into my bronzer. I'm using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and my new favorite brush for bronzing. It's the MAC 135 brush. It's this like gigantic flat powder brush, and it gives you a great diffused bronze. It's not like a chiseled, precise bronze look. It just kind of like slaps bronzer on all over your face. And I love it because it looks really natural, really sun-kissed, and it's also really easy. Lazy girls for life, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just put some on my forehead, some on my cheeks, and you know, like I said, I'm not really being precise with this at all. I'm just kind of all over bronzing so that I look, you know, like I've been out in the sun. Put a little bit on my neck too, just to make everything match. Now for blush, I'm gonna be using something that I am so in love with right now. It's the NARS liquid blushes. This is the shade Torrid, and I just put the tiniest bit on the back of my hand and then kind of blend it out with my finger. And then I'll take a stippling brush. This is a small stipple brush from E.L.F. and tap into the product and just sort of gently build that up on my cheeks. I love these blushes so much. The finish on this blush is so just natural and soft, and I mean, I want to keep piling it on. I probably shouldn't, but I want to because it's just so pretty. You can even blend it with your finger. I mean, I love these so much. So much. I know this might sound a little crazy to you because I've been saying this whole time, fresh, dewy, glowy, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want like a serious highlight. I want a really soft, subtle highlight. So I am going to use my Benefit Dandelion Twinkle, and I'm gonna use this big multitask brush to apply it. It's from Real Techniques. And I'm just gonna kind of sweep that all over, really diffuse that product, because I don't want like an intense metallic stripe. I really just want a little bit of a sheen. I don't want a crazy, crazy highlight. Take a tiny bit on my finger, just on a little bit of my Cupid's bow. I don't want an intense highlight there either because, you know, you get sweaty and yeah, it just won't look cute. I'm also gonna keep it really kind of low key on the brows. I'm just gonna use my Benefit Gimme Brow. I'm not gonna fill in with a pencil. I already have pretty legitimately thick, dark brows, and this will just help even them out a little bit, but mostly it's keeping my brow hairs in place. And I just, because I'm going so kind of soft on the rest of my makeup, I really don't want a super defined, super harsh brow. I like to just keep it downplayed a little bit as much as I can with these brows. So after I apply the Gimme Brow, I'll go in with a clean spoolie and just kind of brush that product through, make sure there's no clumps, and make sure all my brow hairs are in place. I'm gonna go ahead and prime my lids now. I'm using my MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly, as always. I know if you've watched any of my other videos, you're probably sick of hearing me say that because this is just my go-to lid primer. I love it. It just perfectly evens out my lids and covers up all my veins, and it just makes a perfect smooth surface for my eyeshadows. Now for my actual eyeshadow, I'm gonna use these little best friend duos from E.L.F. They come with a shimmer and a matte shade. I have the shades T for 2 and Peach Squad. So I'm just gonna use these 4 shades and do a really simple, kind of quick eye look. I'm starting with the matte cream colored shade from the T for 2 duo and just quickly setting my primer with that. This is gonna be a very low-key eyeshadow look. Now I'm gonna take the matte peachy shade from the Peach Squad duo, and I'm gonna go ahead and just brush that into my crease. Look how pigmented that is, can you tell? I should have zoomed you in. I'm just gonna go kind of all over the outer part of my eye and blend it up into my crease. Not being very precise, just a quick little pop of color. This will really warm up the crease. And it's fun, but it's also subtle. It's not like too bright and crazy. If you're afraid of bright colored eyeshadows, Peach can be a good place to start because it's not too intimidating. Now I'm gonna take the shimmery shade from the T for 2 duo, and I'm just gonna apply that all over my lid, just using my finger. I'm I'm gonna intensify that peach on the outer corners just a tiny bit. This is such an easy peasy look. Who doesn't love that? That's it. Just use 3 shadows, super easy. Nice, soft, subtle, summery. How many other S words can I use to describe it? So I went ahead and curled my lashes and added a little bit of mascara. This is the Benefit They're Real mascara. I like this for a really kind of soft, long and wispy lash look. I just think that kind of goes better with this sort of look. So all I have left to do is put on my lip color and then we'll be all done. To finish off my look, I'm just adding a little bit of this Sweet Peach lip gloss. I use the shade Peach-SICLE. I love this for summer just because it's so easy. You can touch up on the go. You don't have to worry about, you know, having a mirror and being perfectly precise. And it also feels really nourishing and just really good on the lips. Plus, it smells and tastes like peach, so that doesn't hurt my feelings. So that's it for my subtle summer makeup. Let me know what kind of products you love to use for the summer. I really want to know what your go-to products have been so far this summer. Tell me how you get your go-to summer looks. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. I don't even have like jewelry on or anything. I just have this. That's my accessory. Great. And I'm about to lose my voice, so I better hurry up and film before I get sick and I can't make any more videos. Coffee will heal all. Huh? Okay, calm down. Just say what you need to say. Hike up your bra. Get on with it. Such a classy lady. Go back with a damp sponge and just brush. Ta-da! Really great. You're so beautiful. I love you. What highlighter should I use? Oh, Best Friends eyeshadows do eyeshadow. What? Huh? There's a hair in my mouth. What are you even talking about? Get the hair out of your mouth and speak, woman. Be swaying. I know, guys, I know this isn't like groundbreaking makeup. I'm not a makeup artist, so I guess that's that. That's something.